Zone. I'm Steve Gruber. I am America's voice, a man on a mission to make this nation better. Proud to say I believe in America first. I hope you do as well. Here are three big things you need to know right now. Number one, Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs not ready to let go and says he's in to challenge Kevin McCarthy for the job of Speaker of the House. It could get ugly. Number two, Chinese hackers stole millions of dollars from U.S. COVID relief benefits that, according to reports from the Secret Service, but I'll bet Joe Biden's iron-fisted leadership is all fine now. And number three, I know it's all we've talked about for several days, but it is the obsession of everyone except, of course, those in the drive-by media. I think if they ignore him just long enough, Elon Musk might go away, but maybe their entire Twitter nightmare will be coming to an end. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I'm going to get to that. But first, I'll just tell you real quickly that Raphael Warnock won in Georgia last night, as expected, basically. So the Democrats have a 51-49 advantage in the United States Senate. Congratulations to Mitch McConnell for running an incredible fall campaign for the midterms, giving control to the Democrats because he wouldn't spend the money. I'll get back to all that, too. Back to the bad news for the ostrich crowd. Sticking your head in the sand will not unring the bell. The FBI, the Biden team, both before and after the election, the people working inside of Twitter, and yes, Facebook too, have been caught. They've been outed for dirty dealing and censorship of conservatives at every turn. What are we going to do about it? And now that Twitter is back in the hands of free speech people, it really appears things might change. I'm not bold enough yet to say things will change, but it does feel differently right now, doesn't it? So I'm hopeful that ending the leftist monopoly on information on social media platforms will create a new surge in curiosity. A new age of people actually asking questions and challenging the accepted narrative. You know, the way America used to be. Maybe it will even rub off on our kids and grandkids. Maybe the twinkle will return to the eyes of Gen Z. And they might say, well, that doesn't make sense. But that could be way too optimistic. One of the bright spots I pointed out from the first big dump of the Twitter files was Democrat Congressman Ro Khanna, who challenged his Twitter pals that were censoring the Hunter Biden story at the direction of the FBI and the Biden campaign for president, and told them they were out of bounds and the censorship actually had no place in America. So for Congressman Khanna, it was a big deal. But so far, he's the only one. The only Democrat to voice any disapproval of playing dirty, possibly illegal tricks to push Joe Biden ahead of Donald Trump on Election Day 2020. But it's a start. It's a start, I have to say that. So Khanna went to bat for the First Amendment. And the assault it was under from the FBI, the Biden campaign, and other operatives inside of Twitter dictating to Twitter what to censor, what to silence. Listen to this response.
I would focus on the speech part of it. Look, no one is saying, at least I'm not saying, that any of the sensational pictures or photographs concerning Hunter Biden should be out there. That's not what this was about. This was about a journalist at the New York Post writing an article about the situation. And there's no justification for suppressing that. Even if the source of that had gotten that information through something that was hacked, that was the case of the Pentagon Papers. Journalists should be allowed to publish things as long as they aren't participating in the hack.
That's right. They weren't involved, and yet that's what Twitter hid behind. And a lot of reasons for that coming to light today. I'll get to one of the big reveals in just a moment as to what has happened in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the congressman says it's time to have honest answers about the collusion that was going on and who was involved, no matter how high it goes. Listen to this.
Well, I would say let's be transparent about everything. I would be very surprised if the FBI was doing that under the Trump administration, given that President Biden at the time was just a candidate, didn't have control over the levers of government. But I think it's perfectly appropriate to ask the question and to have full transparency and let the facts come out. And so the FBI should explain what they were doing and what the rationale was. I certainly hope that and expect that they weren't trying to do it to bias Twitter against or for a particular candidate.
That's exactly what they were doing, Congressman. You know that, of course. As you can hear, Congress says it's time for the FBI to tell the truth about its involvement with social media companies about the Biden campaign in regards to telling Twitter and Facebook, among others, what posts to put up and which ones to censor. Yeah, it's important. And I want to share some of the things I have been finding out during my afternoon television program, America's Voice Live on Real America's Voice. Yesterday I spoke to Kash Patel, and he says one of the biggest criminals in the whole censorship scandal is attorney James Baker. The big reveal after this. Listen.
Now, here's the thing I know about this about this release, and maybe there's more coming, but I know James Baker was a central figure in orchestrating the largest criminal enterprise in Russiagate at the FBI. He was James Comey's #1 lawyer and authorized the false FISAs and allowed the FBI to lie to a federal judge. He then got fired as a result of our investigation and has been sitting at Twitter as the #2 lawyer for Twitter. And if that wasn't bad enough, Perkins Coie, the law firm that funneled the money from the Steele dossier and hijacked the FISA court and corrupted the FBI, is Twitter's outside counsel. Are you telling me I'm to believe that James Baker, since he left the FBI, has not talked to the press, even though we caught him leaking sensitive information as general counsel to the press? Are you telling me he has not communicated at all with James Comey or any of the FBI agents that used to work for him? I don't believe that for a single solitary second.
Well, there was the conversation that Kash Patel and I were having yesterday afternoon. Within a few hours, James Baker was fired. Fired by Elon Musk. The reason? They learned from Matt Taibbi. He's the man that did the first release of documents on the whole Twitter file. He said James Baker is the one that's been vetting files, slowing down their release. Well, as a result, Elon Musk fired him for suppression of documents on the Hunter Biden story and the censorship inside of Twitter and all of it. Kash was right. There were problems with James Baker. He was James Comey's bestie, if you will. He was the general counsel at Twitter after getting ousted from the FBI. And then he was sitting there trying to vet documents. Bari Weiss, by the way, will do the second drop of documents. Bari Weiss, the former New York Times author, who left that paper when she said it was openly leftist. Bari Weiss is the one coming next with the next tranche of documents that have been slowed down by James Baker. Well, guess what? He's out of the way now. He won't need to vet anything except his future, because he is a hack partisan, a dangerous individual. Dangerous at the FBI. You see, he was at the FBI when the FBI was involved in censorship of American citizens and organizations like you and me and other folks for telling the truth about Hunter Biden's laptop and a host of other things. He's gone now. And by the way, the headline is, Elon Musk fires Twitter lawyer James Baker over suppression of documents of Hunter Biden story. Musk was unaware that this was going on. There's a lot of mess to clean up at Twitter. A lot of mess to clean up. He got rid of 75% of the employees. That's a good start. We'll have more on this when I come back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.